Hi, America found my phone and welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about the live music experiences that I've experienced in 2024 as well as in 2023 because I realized I didn't make a video last year about it, and I just want to talk about them with you and talk about how good each artist is live, if it's something I would recommend doing, if it's something I will go back and see them a second time, where the vibes were at, and all of that good stuff. Instead of ranking them like I did last time, I'm just going to talk about them in chronological order because I feel like I don't want to compare artists in that way, but I do want to still talk about them with you all. So if you are interested in hearing me talk about all the amazing artists I've seen in so many different amazing places across the world, then let's just dive right in. The first artist I want to talk to you about is Shy Girl. I saw her in April of 2023. She was lovely. You guys got me into her, and it was amazing to get to see tracks from Nymph as well as from Alias live. She kicked butt. She had some pole dancers there. It was lovely. Her opener was Nina Uchishiro, who I believe is originally from Japan, who alternated between doing some different hand dance stuff and some Japanese music. I felt like it was a mix of rap and a little singing. It was really interesting. It was pretty unique, and even though it's been over a year and a half, I still think about it a lot because it's still something I'm a little confused by still. But I enjoyed my time, and I would probably see Shy Girl again. I love the attention she's getting with Club Shy. I feel like people are starting to get to know her from that, especially with all the collaborations. I think I would like to see her vibe. She's not going to be at the top of my list for a re-see in person, but I did enjoy my time nonetheless. This competition gets stiffer because I did get to see my favorite band live in May of 2023, and that is Waterparks. I got to meet them. I got a VIP ticket, and I did something I would not recommend you do, which is buying VIP secondhand. I got definitely scammed out of certain money from other people because the ticket did not look legit at all. And even the one I got that did actually let me in did look different than the one that my friend had. So I was a little suspicious of it. I was a little hesitant and a little scared that I was not going to get to meet them and be part of the VIP experience, but I did get to be a part of it, and I got to meet the band and be part of their Q&A. It was a great time. I would 100% see them again. Would I get the VIP experience? If they are still available when I am getting the ticket, I will get it, but only firsthand. I will not do secondhand. I don't think I will do secondhand for pretty much any show at this point anymore, unless I know the person who's giving it to me, or if it's just through the original vendor at the original price that it just got re-uploaded. Elliot Lee and Honey were the two openers. I enjoyed getting to know Elliot Lee's music. I heard an Elliot Lee song back in college that I really enjoyed. It was Pink or Freak. I really enjoyed that. I got to meet Elliot, and I got to contribute to Elliot's meeting a hog. I think it was like a pig or a hog or something. I don't really know. I just gave a little donation and we got a photo together, and it was lovely. It's been lovely just getting to meet artists, and I haven't done it that often, but I try to do it anytime I can if I have the funds and I care and I have something to say to them also. So it was really nice to go to that concert, and I had a blast. I'd absolutely go again. I crowd surfed. Irving Plaza in New York City, I am definitely putting it at one of the top of my list for one of my favorite venues in town. I do wish the next one was split up a bit, but I did see the Eras Tour front row 5 days after seeing Waterparks and meeting them. It was lovely. I had Gracie Abrams and Phoebe Bridgers as my openers. This was back when Gracie Abrams had just pretty much released her first album, Good Riddance, so this is not in the discourse of Secret of Us. This is not in the discourse of Travis Kelce. She and Maddie Healy were still together at the time. I was being offered friendship bracelets that had Maddie Healy on them, and I did not take any of them. Phoebe Bridgers was amazing. I was so happy to get to see her live. I didn't need to get a whole concert out of her, so her doing an opener set was perfect for me. I don't even remember the last hour of the concert experiencing it live, but I'm glad that I got to film parts of it. I did previously have a video on this channel that had a lot of views on it. That was a lot of my footage from the Eras Tour concert. I do still have a video up about what it was like seeing her up close and enjoying that concert pretty up close. So if you want to check that out, that is still up. And yeah, I overall had a wonderful time, but you can check out that video if you want to hear more. Soon after, enjoyed Paramore. They came to Indianapolis and I was in town for a couple of weeks in my hometown. And it was lovely. I enjoyed how much Hayley Williams puts on a show in particular. I love how active and animated she is on stage. She is doing some cardio. The whole band was doing some great stuff. I felt like they did a good mix of older and newer things. And I think that was allowing them to appeal to both old and new fans. A fair more people who liked different vibes, both After Laughter, This Is Why, Riot, the self-titled album, all of that, even solo record stuff. Yeah, it was overall great. Genesis Uwosu, who has made some really good music. That's how I got introduced to him, because I saw him as an opener there. And Block Party was also a great time. So yeah, I overall enjoyed that as well. Then we go to Maud Latour, who randomly ended up being at my Indianapolis Pride event in 2023. I loved seeing her. I saw her pretty up close because no one knew who she was. She was from New York City originally. She's right around my age. And she just put out her debut solo album this year. Absolutely loved it. I hope to see her in concert and in an actual staged area that's not just Indianapolis Pride. In the coming months, when I move to New York City, I think it'll be a great time. And I'm glad to see that she's starting to get more attention and more flowers. And she's putting out music that I like more and more. Then we had Dermot Kennedy. My friend had an extra ticket to Dermot Kennedy just in the pit. And so I went, and it was a great time. I knew Dermot Kennedy's music just a little bit, and I enjoyed it. I think it would have been better had we gone to one of the smaller shows. This was at Madison Square Garden, so it was a larger venue, and this was one of the larger venues that Dermot played on his tour. And so I felt like he hadn't dealt with that big of a crowd before, because he was hoping to hear a lot of people sing back to him, but I feel like the area just didn't have the right acoustics for everyone singing back to him. And even me, I couldn't sing back to him because I didn't know all the words to it. So I do apologize, Dermot, if Madison Square wasn't what you wanted out of it. I feel like Madison Square Garden is a big area that you need a lot of people to know your music. And I feel like while a lot of people enjoy Dermot Kennedy's music, not a lot of people necessarily know all the words to it. There was a lot of couples there, and it was really funny to just be with my friend casually as like a bunch of couples were just like fully surrounding us in the pit. It's kind of funny. Layla Mock, who had a viral hit with Secrets, but is actually really just from like 30 minutes west of where I went to college, was one of the openers for like 20 minutes. And then Sasha Alex Sloan was also there, and she had some good groovy music. Dermot Kennedy definitely commanded the stage the most, but it's definitely still one of my more chill concerts that I've experienced in my life. Then we had Fall Out Boy, who I was so excited to see live. I wish we had more songs from Mania, because this was for the So Much for Stardust tour, but I overall enjoyed their performance. I liked that they had a good mix of old and new. The stuff that they prioritized was the albums that I didn't care as much about. My two favorite albums from them are Save Rock and Roll and Mania, and then I also really like American Beauty, American Psycho. I like their middle section, and they didn't pay as much attention to that, or they picked the singles from it that I didn't care as much for, but I still had a great time, and I do like the vibes. If it was more of like Water Parks where it was GA, I would prefer to be in the GA section of it. They had Bring Me the Horizon open, and that was really great. There was some other openers, but they got kind of stormed out because of some inclement weather. I'm glad it didn't storm out Bring Me the Horizon or Fall Out Boy, but yeah, I overall did have just a wonderful time there. My first concert in Europe was Chapel Rhone in Paris, and I uploaded the footage from it. It was a small venue. This is right before she was blowing up. Her album was just a couple months old at that point, and I overall had a great time. We had some drag queens open. It was great. This was pretty good luck, babe. So she played most of the songs from the album, with the exception of like Guilty Pleasure and I think she did play California, but maybe there's something that was more on the slower side that wasn't played, but it was overall a great show. I would see her again if it wasn't something that was insanely crowded. I don't think I want to do like a festival show. I feel like I would want to do an actual seated show. I want to see what she does with a big stage production, because she was not doing a big stage production. This was the GA thing. I was like fifth from the front, and it was a great time, but we paid 20 euros for it because it was back then. I don't think I want to go to a concert where I am part of this big horde. I do like festivals, and I actually had my first music festival earlier this year, but it is not something I want to do for Chapel in the future. I feel like I'm going to enjoy her concert more by being in an area that's not being swamped. My next music endeavor was Eurovision. I got to go to an afternoon preview for the first semifinal during that week. So I didn't actually go to one of the ones that ended up being televised, but I did get to see a lot of performers. There was Benjamin Ingrosso did a number, Eleni Ferreira did a number. We had many people who were legends of Eurovision before, as well as about half of the people who were in Eurovision this year I got to see live, including the German entry, which was really cool. Since I got to vote and actually had a hand in voting for him to represent Germany this year, it was great to see that he did well, and I also got to see him. So there was a lot of really cool performances. I got to see Rim Tim Tagi Dim live. That was really cool. And it was also really cool. This was the first time that, even though it was not televised, it was the first time where I went to something that was being prepared to be televised, where I was in the audience, that they wanted to practice like we were cheering and stuff like that, to know how to deal with the sound and the lighting for when there is an audience actually there. Yeah, it was a wonderful time. I enjoyed it, and I would definitely go to a Eurovision show again. It was so different experiencing it there versus watching it on the TV. So I'm really glad I got to be a part of the experience. Everyone who was there around me was just so kind and super sweet. And I thought for something like that, it could be like, you know, a competitive sporting event or something like that, where you're just like, I don't know, weirdly like aggressive towards who you want to win and everything. But everyone was just so lovely. Like, people next to me were like, oh, why doesn't the United States participate in this? And I was like, you know that the US doesn't want to be there. Europe probably doesn't want to be there. No one wants us to be there. And if we are there, we are not winning in any way at all. So I would find it fun to be there. And obviously we had the American Song Contest. I don't know if that's obvious actually to a lot of y'all, but that did happen once. But I think as a society, I don't think we have the likelihood of participating in Eurovision in the future. But it was overall a great time, and I could see myself back there if I have the opportunity to. If any country needs me to be their Eurovision correspondent, I can speak English, Spanish, and German. I'll do it. Absolutely. I would love to be a part of Eurovision, especially if I don't have to pay for my airfare or my tickets or anything like that. I would love that. I then saw Mitski in Berlin. This was the second time I saw Mitski. I saw her at Radio City in New York. And I realized that Radio City was not my favorite venue for it, but I liked the venue. It was the Tempodrome in Berlin, and I really enjoyed the venue. I would absolutely go back to that venue for something if I was in the German area again. But I did not like this concert nearly as much as I liked the original one I went to, because I feel like she changed things up. She had her own choreography. She's been having her own choreography. And I think it's the same person who choreographs her. I didn't realize it was something that was choreographed. I thought it was something that she came up, and that these interpretive dances were things that she planned, and that was part of her artistry, that she came up specifically with these dances, that it was not someone else who placed their vision on her. It's fine that it is, but it is different than what I was expecting, and I felt like it made it a little less, I don't know. I don't want to call it impersonal by any means, but it does feel like it comes a little less from the heart when it's not from her heart in particular. It comes from a different vision that she is okay with implementing, but it does feel different than if it was saying, oh, choreographed by Mitski. I also didn't really care as much for the reinterpretations of old songs that sound much more like they belong on the Lena's and Hospital and So Are We. I don't think that's my favorite Mitski album. It might be my least favorite or second to least favorite or something like that. I haven't done an updated re-ranking with that new album, but it's not my preferred one. And I was like, oh, well, if we get the old songs, at least we will get to hear some old songs and get to feel that raw emotion. And I feel like the reinterpretations kind of dress up all that angst and that emotion and make it a little sillier. Honestly, like the polka for Happy was really not it for me. I love the train sound of it. That was something that I liked. And I understand for a tour, you want to dress it up. And I know that like Taylor Swift made her country songs more pop, for her 1989 World Tour. I get the vision for it and I understand why you do it. It was not a tour that I left feeling as excited about. I realized I actually liked how they sounded originally from the recording much more than these dressed up folky reinterpretations. I then went to Primavera Sound. This was my first music festival. It was in Barcelona. I had a great time. There was a lot of artists there and I enjoyed each and every one of them, some more than others, but I enjoyed everything I saw there. There was Nala Cinefro, great performances inside. It was just like a good, like groovy, moody thing. They really rarely paused. I think they played maybe 2 or 3 songs in their hour-long set because it just like transitioned so smoothly. And then we had the Lemon Twigs, which I had heard of online, and they were all right. It's not my type of music, but it was something to listen to, and I enjoyed it, I guess. I saw 070 Shake. I actually don't know how to pronounce their name. They went over, and the songs that they played were just kind of vibey, but not in the vibes that really hooked me, honestly. It was just not my preferred performance, but that just might mean that I just don't really care for the music as much as other people might. It seemed like other people really enjoyed it, but I was kind of like, I don't really get what's going on. I saw the tail end of Mitski again. She was performing during a thunderstorm, which was kind of just more interesting. It made it more interesting than when it was just inside, but it was the exact same set fully from her original thing because she was not a headliner, but she did get to play basically a full set. She went from the beginning to the end. I don't think she had to skip anything at all. She just got to play her full self. I saw the first part of PJ Harvey, and I haven't gotten to PJ Harvey yet, but I am very excited to get into her eventually. I know that Dog Ears from Halsey was inspired by PJ Harvey, and I really just need to hear it. I had to get to a different artist that I really wanted to see, and so I didn't actually get to see her full set. And that artist was Dorian Electra, who put on an amazing performance. You get to see Dorian Electra live, especially at a festival where you get to see other artists anyway. Check out Dorian Electra. Dorian Electra did a lot of cool stuff. Their Fanfare album is really cool. Their stuff from My Agenda and Flamboyant is also really cool. Flamboyant is probably my favorite of the 3, followed by Fanfare, and then definitely My Agenda at the bottom. There's only a couple of songs from My Agenda that I'm okay with, like sensory-wise, but all of them hit hard live. I then saw SZA, absolutely amazing. I am hoping that maybe I'll get to see her and Kendrick for their national tour when I am living in New York. I hope to see her. The tickets are extremely expensive right now, so I'm not sure about that. But this artist is everything. I love her Lana. I love her SOX album. I love Deluxe, all of that. And it was so amazing and felt really full circle to actually get to see this amazing woman live. I saw a bit of Rosie and Murphy. I loved all the costume changes she did. She did a lot of costume changes. And she seemed like she had her vibe and she had her element, and a lot of people were really into her. She, I think, was the last person who used the main 2 stages at night. So people, after SZA ended, kind of just like existed there. And I think they just got into her because they were just chilling and didn't know what else to do, because this festival went until like 4 a.m. No, actually to like 5:30. It was really late. They start at like 5 p.m. So yeah, this ran super late, but a lot of people just didn't know what to do. They were maybe intoxicated. They were definitely maybe a little tired, but they still liked the music going through their body. So them going over there, I feel like she attracted some people there because she was doing some fun and interesting stuff. I finished my one-day festival ticket with Charlie XCX, seeing her at 2:30 in the morning. So brat of me. It was so great. This was like 6 days before Brat came out. And so a lot of songs from it were songs that had already come out from Brat. So we had like 360 at that time, Von Dutch. I think we had back-to-back. I think we had Club Classics. We had some interesting cuts like Speed Drive from the Barbie soundtrack. We had Vroom Vroom. We had track 10. We had I Don't Care, I Love It. People loved Vroom Vroom and I Don't Care, I Love It. I think those are the 2 biggest crowd pleasers, the ones that they knew. This festival is very much for the girls and gays, especially the gays. I don't think I saw a single straight man there except for maybe a few people who performed. I think the National performed. I think that is the exception for the girls and gays that were there. I feel like it was a lot of gay couples there. Not even really a lot of queer single people, as far as I could tell. A lot of people were in like seemingly couples. Like, we're seeing a lot of people kiss and enjoy their lives together in a loving relationships. Whereas I was in a relationship that was not as loving, but we're past that now. We're past that. What I'm here to say is that Primavera Sound is a great opportunity for music festivals if you live in Europe or are traveling to Spain. I just did a one-day ticket because it was my first festival. I didn't know if I could stay in that many days. I picked the day that had the most artists I really wanted to see. The only artist I really didn't get to see was Arca. I saw a part of her DJ set, but that was pretty much it. I'm not even counting it. Arca was the only one who I actually didn't really see on the one day because they were on another day. And I think that was a pretty good thing. That's as good as you could do. I didn't have too many overlap things. I feel like the vibes were immaculate there. There was not too much crowding except for in the boiler room. And I'm not necessarily the person to go into the boiler room anyway, so that wasn't something of deep concern to me. I then saw Olivia Rodrigo in Hamburg. I love that she played so American for all the international dates. She can control an arena. She's like, what, 21 now? And I love that she has been using money for good. Her fun for good is really great. I love her merch store. I thought it was one of the best artist merch stores that I've seen. I feel like she knows her artistry. I love that I feel like I know what she wants to do with her art. I'm excited to see where she goes next. I don't feel like she will try on something to do something to please other people. I feel like she will make music that's good for her because I feel like she has enough of a fan base already that she's going to go far. I feel like she already gets enough from her residuals anyway. So I think she can kind of go where she feels creativity and inspiration is calling her. And I love that for her. And I think this tour was really great. I had a great time. I left thinking that was a great concert. I had no complaints. I would have loved to see Girl I've Always Been, but I knew that was like, no way, no chance. She played most of the songs from Sour and Guts, and yeah, it was overall a great show. And again, I really had no complaints. If you have thought, oh, should I go see Olivia Rodrigo? If you like half her songs or more, I would recommend it. I feel like she puts on a show. I feel like she puts on a good production for what the ticket value is. Also in Europe, I will say I was a bit spoiled because there's not the same price gouging that they do in America where, surge pricing, that's not a thing. All these service fees, not a thing. You can only buy the tickets through the app. There's only the one provider. There's not other ways where you can get secondhand. You just can't do that. That just does not happen at all. So all my tickets for all my shows in Europe, besides the festival, were 70 or under. Extremely reasonable in my personal opinion. No search for, I think, 70 or under, with the exception of the following, which is Nicki Minaj, which I think was 110. But again, that is a stadium also. So that is one of the reasons why it was different. It might not have actually been an arena, but Nicki Minaj, I enjoyed it. I think I needed one time singing Nicki Minaj, and I think I had that one time, and I think I'm okay now. I love singing along with her. I feel like some of her songs were cut short. I feel like she might have been under some influences during it. 2 weeks before that concert was when she got arrested. I thought that was so funny. I'm sorry. That was funny to me. All of you guys had the Justin Timberlake incident of this is going to ruin the world tour. And Europe had the Nicki Minaj version. I think that's kind of funny because it was just very clear. I was like, oh my God, you did that. You went into the UK, which is not part of the EU. You really just weren't thinking about it. And it's just so funny to me. I find it hilarious personally. But the show that I went to was great. She was not late to mine. I overall had a good time. Would I say you should go see her? No. I still don't support what she did with Bigfoot. She did not perform Bigfoot, so thank goodness. Otherwise, that would have been my scheduled restroom break. But yeah, I overall had a good time there, and I think that's a one-time type show for me. I then saw Alanis Morissette. I had known her before I started this channel, but you guys helped me get into her whole discography, and I'm so thankful for that. I saw it with my mom. We had Morgan Wade as one of the openers, and Joan Jett and the Blackhearts as the other opener. I knew some Joan Jett songs, and I was really happy about it. I got into Morgan Wade, and I now like her. I don't know if I'll see her live on her own, but good opener. And then Alanis Morissette put on a great show. I love that she knows what she wants to do. She tours all the time, and she's always putting on great shows. And so if you get the chance to see her and you like her music, go for it. If you don't really care for her music, like, she's just performing the music, you know what I mean? I think some people are like, oh, their shows are boring or whatever. I think people need to realize that if you don't like the music, chances are you might not like the concert. I love live music in general, and I can kind of just get into whatever. And sometimes I'm going to get more into it, and I can appreciate the nature of a good performance. But the thing is, sometimes you just got to perform your music. Sometimes people just want to hear the same songs from the album, but then live. And you enjoy that. You have fun with that. And I think people who are disappointed when they go to an artist concert and then they just hear the music from the concert are like, okay, why did you go? Why did you pick that artist? Don't just pick a random concert if you don't know anything about them, unless you just want to be digesting some new music. And an example in which I did that, I went to see Coin. I know Coin's music somewhat. I enjoyed hearing songs from their new album that I only listened to once at that point. But then I had a great time with the opener, Aiden Bissett. I heard his music and I really enjoyed it. I actually got to meet him at his merch booth, and it was great getting to hear from him. And he's someone who's like right around my age as well. And so it's really cool to see a lot of Gen Z artists just like picking it up and having a good time, even if they're openers. You know, Chapel Roan was an opener just a couple of years ago, actually earlier this year. So yeah, I think sometimes luck changes, and it's just cool to have these interactions while they are still small. Then we had Alec Benjamin. If you like Alec Benjamin's music, I feel like you're gonna like it. It was kind of like a little goofy sometimes. I feel like he had a lot of fun interactions with the crowd. I felt like it was definitely a personable time. It wasn't super small, like it's a big GA area, but it was, I don't know, wholesome. It was very cozy, and I thought it was a good time. Matt Hansen was the opener. I don't know him well, but I think a couple of his songs did go far on social media, and he had a great voice. Matt Hansen did. I would love to see him live. I don't know if I would get tickets for him, but it was just a really good time. Felt like a overall great wholesome time. I don't listen to a lot of men a lot, and I don't go to a lot of concerts that feature men a lot. So that was a fully male concert. And that was also like 2 days after seeing Coin and Aiden Bissett. I was like, dang, I just listen to men now? Shocking. Then we had Pink and Sheryl Crow. I got to see Pink with my mom. Sheryl Crow was one of the openers. The script was another opener, but we messed up the times, and so we got there right as the script set was ending, so I'm not going to count them. Sheryl Crow was lovely. I grew up with Sheryl Crow. It was lovely to see some of her hits being performed live. Pink, amazing. Honestly, I think of all the artists I mentioned here, besides Water Parks, but you really have to like the pop punk sound, and Olivia Rodrigo, if you like Olivia Rodrigo, and going to music festivals and Eurovision, not that you need any more demand for Eurovision. I think Pink is where it's at. She performs. First of all, she's got hits. You know the songs. I don't like actively listen to Pink, but I knew most of the songs because I have passively listened to Pink for years, because everyone has. And she does a lot of aerial stunts. She does a lot of things in harnesses. She has a lot of performance work. She has some great visuals. Like, it's overall like a really well seasoned show. This was in a stadium. This was the same stadium that Taylor Swift ended up performing. Now, did Pink do one night? Yes. Taylor Swift did 3. Well, there's a difference there. Pink had a sold out show in Indianapolis. I don't think there was really any seats that were left open at all. Like, it was pretty much sold out, and it was absolutely wonderful. One of my favorite concerts of this year, especially as a standalone concert. I just loved having so much respect for her. She's a mom. She's doing everything. She does stunts. She sings. She dances. She is kicking butt. She's in her 40s. Like, she is doing everything at the age that she's doing it, and also having a family and everything at the same time. And it just kind of shows that you can do everything. Some people can, at least. Pink can. So good for her. Love Pink. November, I saw Ally X. I really liked her album Girl with No Face, and I overall just loved her performance. It was a small GA show, like 10 minutes from my house. And Violet Chachki, of all people, opened and did a few numbers, and it was great. And I think there was like 30 people there. It was great. I had a lovely time. And they were like, we don't come here often. I don't think we've ever been here. And I was like, you're probably not going to come here again. But I had a great time, and I was so glad that you came through. And I hope the venue booking was not that expensive for you. I personally had a lovely time. I got so much respect for Ally X as a performer. I loved her as a musician and as a producer and a songwriter and everything, but it was so exciting to see her live, and I would love to see her live again, especially when the crowd is larger. Everyone in the crowd knew what was up. Let's just say that. We had a good crowd. We were small but mighty, but it would be nice to see her live and in a place where it's like, oh wow, there's people here. I have Justin Timberlake. I feel like I mentioned him a bunch lately because of my top albums, and then I'll also mention him on Pop Culture Moments video. But I got tickets to see him. I did not even know the show was happening until 2 hours before, when my friend said, hey, my roommate has an aunt, and that aunt has tickets for the show tonight. Do you just want to go? And I was like, okay, sure. And I had a good time. I was dealing with a lot because I'm moving to New York next month. And so it is a lot to wrap your head around and deal with. But it was something that like took my mind off of it for a little bit. I went with a friend who could handle some spontaneous adventures. And it was nice catching up with them while we waited for Justin to come on stage. Justin Timberlake dances. He's got hits. He does not do the aerial stunts. I had a good time. Would I recommend you go see him? I think the tour is almost over. I don't know when the next time he's touring. It was all right. I think if you like Justin Timberlake's music, I feel like my friend who said she did not know any Justin Timberlake songs, she was singing along to every song from Future Sex Love songs. Heck, she even sang along to Selfish from the most recent album, and she was like, I don't even know that this is Justin Timberlake. Sometimes you just don't know that you know this man's music. And I think that applies to a lot of popular household name artists, like where you know the name, but you don't know any song that they sing. Yeah, you do. You just don't know that they sing it. I overall had a good time there. I don't think it's one of my highlights in terms of concerts, but it was great to get out of the house and do something a little spontaneous for once. And that is all my live music experiences in the past 2 years. Did you have some amazing ones in the past couple of years? What are you looking forward to most in the coming year? Do you have a lot of concerts coming up that you are excited about? Who are you hoping drops concert dates soon? I know I have a lot of artists I'm on a watch list for, or that I have already saved the links to get tickets, because I am moving now to New York, and most artists now come to New York, and they don't necessarily always come to Indianapolis or to wherever random places in Europe I was in at the time. So I am very excited to see what artists are right in front of me in person in the coming year. And I hope you all enjoy this video, and let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like this video, please like it, comment down below to continue next on my channel. Please subscribe to my channel and you'd like to be. And thanks for watching. This is TurtleStormer. Catch you later.
Get out of the zone.